bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge meets his nephews all lean in. Breaking down fights, call him Stat Daddy Supreme. On Just a Tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged. From the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick. Hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Balls deep predictions, he be making those calls. Getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jabs to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight night kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday afternoon. It is after the weigh-ins for UFC Vegas 96 that's going to be headlined by Jared Cannonier and Caio Borralho. Everybody made weight. Myron Santos looked like he was very close to not making weight, but he needed the box. Got it. And everybody made weight. So here we are. We've got all the fights ready to go. I've got a 4-leg parlay ready to go. We haven't hit one of these in a minute, so it's time, you guys. It's time to cash this thing. We're going to keep it nice and simple this week. I did a little bit over 2 hours on Balls Deep breakdowns this week for the Patreon people. I've got 70 pages of write-ups again for these fights that are available on the Patreon. And we've got 3 money lines and 1 time prop on this one. And there's no violence props on this one. I don't know what's going on. I mean, as somebody who's studied math, I don't think the new gloves have anything to do with the lack of KOs. I really don't. I mean, I think it's probably just a blip. It's probably just something we should be expecting some regression back to the mean with a lot more violence lately. But we haven't been getting it. Last week, 2 of the legs of the parlay were not Zach Reese. It was there were 2 violence legs, where you were Jack Jenkins against Herbert Burns, and the other one was Tom Nolan, against Reyes. And both of those fights went over, and it's getting ridiculous. It's getting to the point where you have to start wondering, is there something in these gloves that is allowing, people to take harder punches? But until somebody kind of sits there and performs a scientific experiment that suggests that these gloves are hitting significantly, softer than the previous gloves, I got to believe that we're going to see some violence at some point. But it's been crazy trying to hit parlays lately when people that are supposed to be finishing fights are not only not finishing fights, but they're actually fighting in a way where it looks like they're trying not to finish on purpose, which is bizarre. But either way, that's why I changed it up a little bit this week. But what I did not change up is the process that I'm using to break down these fights. The process that's gotten me first place on Tapology 2 of the last 3 weeks. 13 of 13 on my fight picks 3 weeks ago. 10 of 12 on my fight picks last week, and first place overall in terms of picking fighter, method, and round out of over 5,000 people on Tapology. So if you guys see the, I'm going to add that there. These are the fight write-ups for every fight. We have 9 of the 12 fights. It's a total of 70 pages of write-ups here, but the process that I'm using to break down these fights, I think, is allowing me to take all the relevant information into account for every single fight, and it has me breaking down every fight the exact same way, by first looking at, the last 3 fights of each fighter, having notes on those fights. Then talking about the recent trends for each fighter and, are they on a winning streak? Are they on a losing streak? Has the market been overvaluing them or undervaluing them? You know, what is the recent? Is there any recency bias that we can take advantage of? And then we look at the strength of schedule competition. You know, is this a step down or a step up for either of the two fighters? You know, compare their wins to each other, compare their losses to each other. Really have a great idea of the strength of schedule of each fighter, not just by looking at the metrics, but actually, you know, putting all of those things together. Then we look at the summary of the distance striking stylistic components, a summary of the clinch and the grappling stylistic components, the on-paper advantages and weaknesses of each fighter. And then we go to the conclusions, the pick and the reasoning, and the best bets. And if we go through this for every single fight, and we go through that method for every single fight, I think we're really going to put in better work. We're going to have more researched opinions, and we'll be able to be confident about the fights where we've done the work and we've seen the angles that could present themselves because of doing this, you know, incredible amount of research on each fight. So I'm looking to get it right for you guys this week. We're looking to cash this Greasy 4-leg parlay, which is currently checking in at plus 575 on DraftKings Sportsbook. So let's get right into it. Line number one is going to be the Jacqueline Cavalcanti money line at minus 225. So we'll get that in there. If we look at my write-up for this fight, you know, this is the conclusions. I see this fight taking place at distance striking range, where Cavalcanti is most comfortable and technical. Jackie's height and reach advantages should serve her well at distance striking range, and her defensive footwork and lateral movement should help her deal with the constant forward pressure of Nunez. I don't see either fighter going to the grappling offensively, and both fighters are durable and have the conditioning to push a pace for the full 15 minutes. I see Jackie being more accurate, being extremely difficult to hit, and landing the more impactful and precise shots in this fight. I see her winning the minutes of this fight on her way to a unanimous decision victory by picking Nunez apart at range. Nunez's advantages in the overall and UFC experience and the edge she holds in the power won't be enough to outweigh how outmatched she is in technical striking ability in this fight, as long as Josie doesn't land a bomb. And that is entirely possible, because Josie's looking to take your head off with every time she throws that left hand. And if she does land it on you, your brains are going to be scrambled for a minute, and you might not be able to recover in time before the ref steps in. So obviously Josie's, you know, the way that she hits, she's going to be live to win any particular fight. But I see her being so outmatched in just skill level in terms of MMA overall. I mean, Josie's just extremely predictable, extremely one-dimensional, as I highlighted in her weaknesses here. She's undersized, she's predictable and one-dimensional. So, yeah, Cavalcanti by decision is how I see this one playing out, but we're just going with the Cavalcanti money line here at minus 225 for the first leg of the parlay. The second leg of the parlay is going to be Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. We got Viacheslav Borshchev here to shave the ass of Jimmy Yantop. I like Viacheslav's striking advantage in this fight. I think his striking is elite in the division. I think he's extremely fast. He's powerful. He's technical. And I love the way that he works all the targets on the body. He hunts to the body. He hunts to the legs. And he throws big power hooks to the head too. So even if these gloves are stopping finishes, I don't think it's going to matter with somebody like Borshchev, who works the legs so heavily. And Yantop is somebody who's going to be heavy on that front leg, going to be looking to box a lot. He is more of a boxer than he is a Muay Thai kickboxer, where he's going to be checking leg kicks. So I do see that Viach is going to be landing those leg kicks. I think that that's going to really give problems to Yantop early. I could see Yantop maybe getting a takedown or two, but I just don't see him holding him down. And the striking disadvantage in this fight, I think, is going to be a little bit much to overcome here. Yeah, and I mean, the market is down on Yantop because he did shit the bed the last time out. But this fight should be an all-action banger that has a great chance to be fight of the night. Both guys are down to exchange bombs in the pocket. Both guys are pretty durable. Both guys have great output, heart, and conditioning, and both guys hit hard. On the Borshchev side, you get the guy with more UFC experience and the better strength of schedule. Slava should win the minutes and moments at distance striking range, and I see him being able to keep the grappling exchanges of this fight fairly close because Yontop's just not this great wrestler or dominant ground game guy. And then Jimmy Yontop is coming off of a rough UFC debut, but he's 7.5 years younger, more experienced as a professional. Even though Slava has the striking advantage, Jimmy has really solid striking in his own right. So this fight may play out closer on the feet than I'm envisioning, but Jimmy should be the fighter more likely to win minutes with his offensive grappling. And he's definitely underpriced for this fight, blowing it as a minus 450 favorite in his debut. Yontop still has a ton to prove at this level. Outstriking Malik Lewis and Taco Padilla does not mean he's ready to get into pocket exchanges with Slava, and I believe Slava's leg kicks are going to be a serious problem for Yontop, who's very heavy on his lead leg. Both of these guys switch stances, but I love Slava's speed and power advantages at range in this fight, and I'm confident he's going to win the minutes and the moments of this fight at distance striking range due to his superior defense and combination striking in the pocket. Yontop is 1 win and 2 losses to the submission as a pro, so I don't worry too much about his ability to dominate the grappling exchanges of this fight. I think Slava puts on a striking clinic here, gets a late stoppage, late second, early third round knockout is what I'm looking for here. So second leg is Viacheslav Borshchev's money line at minus 218. That brings us up to plus 110 for this 2-leg parlay. Leg number 3 is the other leg that I envisioned for Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week this week. It is the Robert Valentin money line. I like him a lot to win this fight. Robert is younger. He's a lot more experienced. He's fought the better brand of competition as a professional. I think that he's more dangerous wherever this fight goes. On the ground, he's got an excellent submission game. On the feet, he's got a big power advantage over Ryan Loder and a big striking advantage over Ryan Loder. Loder is a D1 wrestler. He's fairly new to MMA. He's only got 7 professional fights, and his MMA career has really only been less than 3 years. So mostly a wrestling coach, mostly a wrestler, but the cardio isn't there in order for him to be able to push a wrestling heavy game plan for the full 3 rounds here. So I think that even if he does have success early with the wrestling, I think he's going to have to work hard to get the takedowns. And I think Valentin's going to be threatening with submissions. And he's going to be, sweeping, submitting, or standing back up. And I do believe that as this fight goes on and Loder starts to slow down, that Valentin will be able to find that power shot or find a submission on the ground if Loder gets sloppy. And if Loder winds up on his back, I think that's going to be a very bad thing for him, as wrestlers are very bad off their back. And I do think that Loder's conditioning needs a lot of help in order for him to be able to push the kind of pace and use the tools that he has in order to win this fight. So I like Robert Valentin to win here at minus 166. I've got a big bet on his money line this week, trying to win 2 units. I do think that he's going to win this fight and win it violently. So we've got Robert Valentin's money line here at minus 166. That brings us up to plus 237 for this 3-leg parlay. And leg number 4 is not a leg that we're going to really be able to hedge out on, but it is the fight goes to decision for Cannonier Borralho. Like I said, there's been a big time lack of violence lately. This is going to be Caio Borralho's first 5-round fight at the UFC level. He's a very smart fighter. I think we're going to see him kind of slow things down a little bit. And he's already somebody that kind of fights at a slower pace. He's going to try to mix in the takedowns. And at distance striking range, he's going to keep that distance, use that traditional martial arts style that he has, the southpaw striking style of keeping that distance, that bladed stance, making you pay when every time you try to enter. He's going to be looking to counter, and he's going to be looking to use like long range attacks to slow down your offensive output and be precise when he strikes. I think that this fight's going to be close on the feet, and I think it's going to be pretty close in the grappling exchanges as well. Cannonier at middleweight has looked really good with his takedown defense and get-up game. He's allowing less than 10% control time to his opponents in the middleweight division, and he's faced more than his share of grapplers at this level. So I do believe that Cannonier, because this is a 5-round fight, and because Caio is such a smart fighter, I don't think we're going to be able to see Caio like go out there and chain wrestle and go out there and really commit to getting the takedowns. And if he doesn't do that, I don't see how you think that Caio could possibly look his money line here, which is minus 270 at distance striking range against somebody as experienced and as solid of a striker as Jared Cannonier is here. So I think that this is going to be a close fight. I think that these guys are going to go the full 25 minutes, and we're going to see the fight go to decision here at plus 100. So, and if you can't parlay the fight goes, just go with the over 4.5 at a slightly cheaper or more expensive price. But if we go to fight props here, yes, for Cannonier, Borralho fight goes the distance, and that brings us up to plus 575 for this 4-leg parlay. So let's cash it. And all this information that we have this week, that is available on the Patreon, whether it is the side-by-side, matchup stats, whether it's the over-under betting model, whether it is the prop betting model, the individual fights or stats for each fighter that can give you a lot of handy information on DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, and Underdog DFS sites. So please consider joining that Patreon. $10 a month for the basic tier, $25 a month for the probability tier. And if you're on that probability tier, you got over 4 hours of exclusive content and access to over 70 pages of write-ups on these fights this week, best bets, access to the Discord. It's one of the places that you should go if you're somebody who does your own research and somebody who takes your own opinions into account. Being on this Patreon is going to give you access to so much information and research that'll help you make better decisions and be a better long-term winning gambler in the long run. So please consider joining the Patreon, supporting the work. The link is in the description of this video. And you could check out 2.5 hours of balls deep breakdowns this week, 2 hours of probability that I did with my guy Lou Betcha this week because my guy Brady is on vacation. And come join us. Come join us here. But let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here. We got K Deep Montana in the room with Don Corleone. I love that picture saying Uncle Weezy the GOAT. Appreciate you, man. We got MMA Bill Counter in here saying, let's go, Uncle Weezy. It's my birthday today. Hey, man, happy birthday to MMA Bill Counter out there. And he's saying, oi. And we got my guy Broke DJ in the room saying, oi. Love you, Unc. What's up, Broke DJ? Good to see you hanging out in here. We got Joe in the room saying, let's go. And we got Jacob Cole saying, Uncle Weezy, you the man. He's loving the intro music. Appreciate you, Jacob. We said that, somebody said that they felt like the gloves gave them 20% more power, like they're tighter and smaller. Dude, it's so weird, the lack of finishes. And like I say, until somebody gives me some scientific proof other than we've just got a short-term blip in nonviolence, somebody give me some fucking proof as to why these gloves are landing less knockouts, and then I'll start to believe that I should adjust my models to suggest that we're going to see less finishes. We got whatever the knockouts are, total coincidence. I think these are actually going to have more knockouts. That's what one of the fighters said. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, I guess, but I think at this point, you kind of got to just wait. If you're a big violence bettor, you got to kind of wait and see that it comes back before you start, unloading with both barrels here, because this is very concerning, this short-term swing towards fights going over. We got Double Vision MMA 365 in the room saying, yo, Weezy, what's up, Double Vision? We got VTech saying pillow gloves and no grappling narrative. These fights are getting harder to cap. Yeah, that's true, man. We got Morphitrix saying, finally catching Weezy live. So many late additions to this card. Let's go. Yeah, dude, I only did the breakdowns for the fights that were added before Monday because, when you do as much research as I'm trying to do on the fights, you can't just drop 3 more fights. That's like another day's worth of work for me. It takes me I think I can break down 3 to 4 fights a day just based on this methodology that I'm following right now. It'll pick up as we go down the road as I have more fight notes and I have to stop, I don't have to write up as many fights before I start getting to the stylistic matchups and stuff. But There's so many late editions. I always hate late editions, and I'm very reluctant to bet on fights that are made on fight week. We got Billy Briz in the room saying, good luck this weekend. Same to you, Billy. Let's stack them high this week, dude. We got Abdi in the room saying, what's up, Abdi? We got Morphatrix saying Nunez fights like a tiny Drickus with a Napoleon complex. Yeah, she's funny, but at least she knows, like, that she needs to go forward, Morphix, the fighter said there's more power, I don't think they're pillow gloves, but we're gonna have to see. We got the Air Rig in the room saying, "Oi!" And we've got Baby Sharp saying, "Do your previous live streams go private?" Not from like 2 weeks ago or anything like that. Like, they're just unlisted on YouTube for this week, because they're just available on the Patreon. So, yeah, they're private this week. They're available for all the paying members of the Patreon. Let's see. Pores Wolf saying, did you hear the interview with Rob Valentin saying he did 7 grams of shrooms on a mountain and talked to his ancestors who told them they look forward to him entertaining them by making his enemies bleed? I think that's fucking awesome. And I did not hear that, but that makes me even more confident that he's going to go out there and shave ass. If you're doing 7 grams of mushrooms, dude, you are going to see some shit. You are really going to see some shit. And so I think he probably did see his fucking ancestors. He probably did have an in-depth conversation with them. But psychedelics, I think, are something that can unlock certain potentials within people if they're done responsibly, and if they're done with an idea of what it is that you're trying to achieve. Because a lot of people will just take psychedelics with, I'm going to get fucked up. But some people, if they're going to take ayahuasca or if they're going to take, a large quantity of mushrooms, are looking to have some kind of a breakthrough. And yeah, I'm sure Rob did do that. And yeah, that sounds like the kind of shit that he would do. And I love it. I love it, man. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, and Rob was my favorite this season by far as well. Yeah, and that is epic for sure, man. We got Yes Freak saying we are here to do it. Weezy, Scottsdale, Arizona is watching you. Thank you, Yes Freak, for hanging out here on the Greasy 4-leg parlay. We got Colby saying, oi, expecting you to come on first and Tapology again. You're killing it, man. I probably won't this week because I haven't even looked at 3 of these fights. I have no idea what's going to happen in the Myron Santos fight. I have no idea what's going to happen in the Khan Offley fight. And I have no idea what's going to happen in the Marshall Bazookier fight. I didn't research them at all. I'm already moving on to next week. Like I say, man, they could put 5 fights on Tuesday. I'm not going to fucking do the work for them because, I need to have more time to break down the fights. If you're not going to have them added 7 days before the fights actually happen, I'm probably not going to be able to do it. Jacob saying, I've had that intro stuck in my head all week. It's fire. I love that intro. Shout out to Matt from the Golden Octagon for putting that together for me. It kills, and everybody seems to really like it. Uncle Weezy for president says, Captain Nemo. What is up, Captain Nemo? We've got, I finally got it last week from Robert Saladino. DDP is Bam Bam Rubble from the Flintstones. He just bum rushes and bonks elite strikers on the head, and they seem to wilt. Yeah, dude, he's got real power. He's very unorthodox, and he has a very weird cadence to his striking. So the more technical you are, I think the bigger of a nightmare it is fighting a guy like that. And he fought like a total dumbass too. He wasn't shooting any takedowns for the first 2 rounds, which to me shows just piss poor fight IQ. Why are you going to fucking stand at distance striking range and get picked apart by fucking Israel Adesanya? But he eventually found that bum rush, Robert. He landed the big shot. Izzy turned his back on him and started running away. And that's when, he just hugged him, dragged him to the ground. And he could have done that in round 1 or 2 and just made this much easier. Nobody ever seems to want to grapple against Izzy. It's like they pay him not to do it. I don't know. But in that, I mean, like, Drickus is a very, very interesting guy to fight against because he just really is somebody that you cannot replicate in the gym. Pickle Kush likes Ricci plus 3.5 and Cannonier plus 5.5 as legs 3 and 4. Good luck, Weezy. Dude, I like those as well. I mean, I think that you're not going to get as big of a number on the parlay, but I think that Ricci Hill is going to be a split decision. I think they're very well matched. I think Ricci probably wins the decision there, just because the judges definitely like Ricci a lot more than they like Angela Hill. And Ricci's the younger fighter, the more marketable fighter at both of their points in their careers. So I think Hill's going to win the fight in the cage, and I think the judges are going to award it to Ricci. And I have a tracked bet on Cannonier plus 5.5 at minus 105 this week for 1.05 units. So I love that line as well. We got Baby Sharps and been fading the over-under on total finishes per card, Caesars, for a few weeks, and it's been hitting. Maybe this is the week it doesn't. Yeah, it might not, but the trend's your friend. You know, you shouldn't be afraid when you've been hitting a certain kind of bet to just keep going to the well until it stops. And then when that trend stops, then you re-examine. Then you re-examine if you want to continue betting that trend, or if you think that you're seeing something where, you know, now that the trend is ended, that you're going to see some regression back to the mean, if that's the case, if that's what you're expecting. So there's a number of ways to look at it. But, you know, as a former trader that used to work on the floor of the Chicago Stock Exchange, you know, fading trends can be very, very risky. It can pay off huge if you time it correctly, and timing is everything. But because timing is so hard, I think the longer term winners, the people who make money and who are, you know, reliable in the ability to be able to produce those results over a longer timeline, I think those are the people who just say, yeah, I'm just going to keep going with the trend, and when the trend ends, I'll stop trading that trend and I'll look for the next one. So yeah, and Ricci's still the plus spread, even though she's the favorite on the money line. So that's weird. I was actually going to look to throw an Angela Hill plus 3.5 points handicap at like minus 300 or better. I feel like that would be a phenomenal parlay piece. But it's actually Ricci that's on the plus money, or on the plus 3.5 points handicap. And I think that hits as well. You know, because I just think that this is going to be a very close fight. They report about, and that's not nearly as badass, JJ. Am I crazy for thinking Angela Hill should be like minus 200 here? She's bigger, longer. Jandiroba and Dern couldn't submit her. Lemos couldn't KO her with a Machida kick, and she's impossible to put away. Yes, I agree with all of that. I think that Hill is the much better fighter here. I think she's going to destroy her in the clinch. I think she's going to win the minutes in the distance striking exchanges by using a lot of kicks and using those that length advantage that she has with her kicks in order to win the minutes there. And I think she's going to be actually just as likely to get takedowns or win minutes in the grappling exchanges, as her grappling game has taken massive strides forward recently. Ricci is above average everywhere, but amazing nowhere, and I agree with that. Absolutely. Muhammad, I'm Ard Bruce Lee says, "Oi, Weezy, what's up, Muhammad? Good to see you hanging out in here." Broke Degen saying that's only the double dose. Everybody should take an eighth of mushrooms, 3.5 grams. I'm huge. I could easily handle a quarter. Yeah, dude, I couldn't easily handle. Dude, if I took a full eighth, I'd be flying for sure. But a dude like Rob Zilla, you know, I'm sure he could take the full 7 grams and handle it, as could Broke Degen, because Broke Degen's a huge dude. Think everybody in the world should try mushrooms one time. Just shrooms, no other ones. I did them at a young age, lost my ego, and gained enlightenment. And that's a great thing to do, man. We got Morphatrix saying those body shots Izzy was landing on DDP were brutal. I know he always looks tired, but I thought those were going to end him at some point. Yeah, I don't know why he was just willing to stand at range with him and not make him grapple right off the bat. Weezy going to be driving through Chicago in November. What's the pizza place to go to? So if you want to try deep dish, I would suggest Lou Malnati's, Uno's, or Due's. That's right in the heart of the city. If you want to get thin crust pizza, there's a place out in Niles called Barnaby's. It is Niles, Illinois, which is like, it borders on Chicago. It's over on Caldwell Avenue near Oakton. That is my favorite thin crust pizza in the city. But I would suggest going for the deep dish and going downtown to a Lou Malnati's or Uno's or Dewey's. Those are really good. Pequod's Pizza also is very highly rated here in Chicago, but I would go to Lou Malnati's before I would go to Pequod's. Broke DGen saying, definitely like a breakthrough. When you go in there, I feel it's like you'll come out with all the answers you need. That's what it is. Jesse on Fire explained his ibogaine experience. Ibogaine. Interesting. Ucella says, great point, Weezy. Yeah, and that one should be Slava versus Yantop should be an awesome fight. Josh saying, Weezy, what's up? Glad to catch you live. Have you picked the 2 tough finale matchups yet? No, I've picked. I do have Rob Valentin winning, but I haven't researched the Offley versus Santos fight. Is that what it is? Offley's fighting Santos and Rymasker's fighting Fletcher. I didn't look at those fights at all because they weren't added until like Tuesday night, which is when I'm finishing up my research for the week. Angela Hill should have 8 more wins. I watched every fight. I made a big post on this on Cody Safdie's Dogger Pass comments. How couldn't believe he wasn't on Johnson and Erosa versus midgets. Yeah. I still can't believe what's his name got guillotined by Erosa 2 guillotines in a row. Crazy stuff. And now I can't believe they're on another midget with a baby and her nickname. My ass shaving of the week is Angela Hill. I guarantee you she's going to make her look tiny. And what people don't get, what I always think about when you're in the smallest division is that there's nowhere to go and you're too small. That's it. Yeah, she's going to be much smaller than Angela. Baby Shark is a 105er and Joshua Van is a 115er. Yeah, I agree with you on the Van thing too there, man. Van is very small for the division. But because he's small, he pressures and he throws a ton of volume and he uses his cardio as a weapon. So at least he kind of knows how he has to fight in order to minimize his weaknesses and maximize his strengths. That's what great fighters do. We got Michael Croak in the room saying, Weezy, oi, what's up, Michael? We got Morphatrix saying Angela Hill has never had a boring fight. I've watched several of them last night. Her record absolutely does not do her justice. Yeah, I'm picking Angela Hill to win. I just don't know if I'm going to get to the bet or not. Fender Jazz saying, I used to get Pizza Uno and Reggio's every time I was in the Chicago airport. Yeah, Reggio's sucks, for Chicago pizza, and it's airport pizza. So obviously you're going to get airport pizza there. But yeah, Pizza Uno, I don't know if they have them in the airport. That would be wild if they did. But yeah, Reggio's is I know Reggio's from the airport, and it's not good. I may have just lost an opportunity to be sponsored by Reggio's Pizza, but I'm going to level with you guys. It's not great. Okay. As a Chicagoan who knows his pizza, it's not great. Those fights are tricky, says Jacob. Poor is saying, interesting card this weekend for betting. I'm from Long Island, so I'm biased towards Bazookia. Good training partners, and he works his ass off. Yeah, and he's a lot more experienced than Francis is. He's been around longer. Pizza Uno. Every time I feel like it from the freezer section. We got Dix Insider saying, Prophet Mihalis, if you hear the song Funky Cole Medina play on the walkout tomorrow, just know one thing. He ain't losing that fight. Yeah, I know one thing. He is losing that fight. I don't care what song he walks out to. He can walk out to Fucking in the Bushes by Oasis, which is the best walkout song for any fighter, and he'd still get his ass shaved in this fight. I am not a believer in the Funky Cole Medina. Literally just as good as the fresh one because of the structure of the pizza. Yeah, dude, when I worked at Lou Malnati's, they do frozen pizzas too. They're made right there in the store exactly the same way they would make a pizza that they're bringing out to somebody that's eating in the restaurant. It's just they par bake it. They put it right into the tin, and then they throw it right in the freezer. So yeah, when you're getting those pizzas from Uno's and stuff like that, they're made in the kitchen just the same way they make the ones in the restaurant. We got Volkan Ardich in the room saying, oh, and he's going to put Offley in the foreleg. And I know why Volkan's putting Offley in the foreleg. It's because Khan Offaly is of Turkish descent, as is my man Volkan Ardic. So he's going to be supporting his fellow Turk there. And yeah, and Offaly looked really good in the house, though. I'm looking forward to that fight because I didn't get to see either of their second fights. I didn't get to see Myron Santos's second fight, and I didn't get to see Khan Offaly's second fight. But I was very impressed by both of those guys. My favorite Phil Hill fact: her grandparents were abducted by aliens. No shit, is that true? That's wild, man. I did not know that. Airport pizza, laughing my dude. There's a lot of I go to the airport just for pizza. Dixon is in here. We got the Golden Octagon saying, "Oi, good luck this weekend, Weezy in chat." Thanks, Matt. Good to see you hanging out in here, brother. That's the guy that's responsible for the intro that you guys all like so much. Volkan saying, "Who's getting shaved this week?" I got Jimmy Lontop getting his ass shaved by Viacheslav Borshchev, and then Borshchev is going to shave his ass, Volkan, and then he's going to hit us with the Russian Kalinka, and we're all going to be smiling and celebrating. Yeah, man. I got Viacheslav Borshchev to shave the ass this week. And Morvichuk saying, "Weezy, do you think Morales versus Magny fight goes the distance?" Yes, I'm picking that fight to go the distance because Morales is very KO dependent, and Magny just doesn't get knocked out. He's only been knocked out twice in 32 UFC fights. So he's a lot more durable than people think that he is. So I do believe that even though, I hate that he doesn't seem to want to check calf kicks, that could be a serious problem against somebody like Morales. And Morales does have power in his hands, but I don't think he's this murderous power puncher that's going to make Neil Magny wilt right off the bat. So I'm picking that it goes to decision. Morales is kind of low volume and showboats a bit, but he should surely win, but not by finish. My pick is Michael Morales to win by decision in that fight. So I'm with you there. We got Jeff saying, "Someone check in on Kong Wang before Brady marries." We'll have to see that. We got US Broke Degen saying Portnoy had a whole thing where he was using Lou Malnati's with something else, and it was a whole bit. Okay, yeah. Portnoy he's got a lot of, he definitely loves his pizza, man. That's for sure, dude. We got Giga Chat of NPCs saying Turks are warriors, unlike Arabs, he's saying. Okay. Well, the Turks conquered the Greeks for like 400 years. So, I mean, they're definitely good warriors. Betty and Barney Hill. Shit, I think I've heard those names. That's wild. Betty and Barney Hill are the grandparents of Angela Hill, and they were abducted by aliens. That's wild. Oh, okay. Ibogaine, get you off of opiates. Jesse was on opiates. Very interesting. Okay. Weezy, there's a lot of fusion confusion going on with the debutante Kong Wang. Some are actually saying her unwesternized name is actually Wong Kang. Can you please set the record straight for us? No, I cannot. I am not an expert on Chinese pronunciations. I do the best I can, but for me to sit here in front of yous guys and lie to yous guys and say that I'm the one that knows how to properly pronounce this woman's name, I'd be lying to you. Be absolutely lying to you. So yes, I don't know how to set the record straight. And I'm going to listen to what John Anik says and then just go with what he says. But yeah, they were saying her name a little bit differently in it was like it wasn't like they were saying Kong, it was like they were saying Tong or something like that. So I don't know, man. Magny and Anthony Smith are kings of the not checking calf kicks. It's wild to watch. It's true, man. Were her grandparents returned or are they still abducted, says Radislav. I have no idea. I think they were probably returned. That's why they were able to tell the story of how they were abducted. And then we got Golden Octagon saying they announced it as Tong. Yes, and that's what I heard too. Tong, not Kong. So we'll have to listen to what John Anik says on Friday. But all right, you guys, let me just quickly go over the parlay here. Leg 1, Jacqueline Cavalcanti, money line, minus 225. Leg 2, Viacheslav Borshchev. That's Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, minus 218. Leg number 3, Robert Valentin, money line, minus 166. Leg number 4, fight goes to decision. In the main event, Cannonier versus Borralho at plus 100. That gets us to plus 575. on DraftKings Sportsbook. Please consider joining the Patreon if you want access to over 4 hours of exclusive content every single week on these fights and these massive write-ups and the bets for the probability show. This is the 70 pages of write-ups for each of the fights on the card. Join the Patreon, support the work, and have access to enough research that you'll be able to make much better long-term gambling decisions. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment down below, and please consider joining that Patreon to support the work. Appreciate you guys for watching. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 96. And God bless each and every one of you guys. Later.